I work as a technical artist at Algorithmic. So I'll just go through some workshop for you guys. How can we create some photorealistic textures using our tool? This is a node-based software where we can create the textures like tile textures and all. So you can see here, like I've just opened a new substance file. I'll just create this as a tiles. I've just took a PBR standard. So once I get a new file, I can see the outputs here as base color. This represents the color of the material and also the normal. This actually to fake lighting on the bumpy surface, and the roughness. Roughness describes how rough your surface is, maybe a matte, or how glossy is your surface. And also metallic we have. If in case it is metallic, then you can drive the attribute by this, and also height information. Let's start creating some nodes and go ahead. So I will just take a tile generator. So once I take a tile generator, you can see here. So this is my 3D visualization space, and also this is my 2D visualization space. So I have took a node here. So once I double click on my node, you can see a lot of parameters here. I just change the parameters and you can see the result in my 2D view. So let me change that now for you. Also I will change the shape here. I will duplicate it. You would be seeing duplicating several times here. I have duplicated now. I have made the changes to 2 by 2. You can see the difference. So now we have 2 nodes here. Let us try to blend this node. 2 nodes. I have took a blend node here. I will just plug this in my background. I'll plug this in my foreground. So what I do, I just come and blend it together. So now I have a blended result of this both. I will just grab a histogram select. Let me refine the shape a bit further. So I will just plug this. So now my shape is already refined a bit. I will do a little more adjustments. Something like this. Yeah, perfect. I will take a level node here. So I will just use this one. Again, I will just refine this small shape. Cool. So I have 2 shapes here. One is this and another one this. Again, I will just grab a blend node here. I will just add this both into one. And just add it. Now I have, anyway, anytime I can come back here, I can make some changes. So you can see that is getting resulted in my report. Fine. So now I have a pattern here. So let me take a tile sampler. So what does tile sampler do? It takes the input and it actually places a tile randomly. So I will just quickly show you. I'll just make this also 4 by 4. So now here you see there is a square input. I will change this to pattern input. So if I zoom it here, you can see the pattern input here. I will just connect this one. So once I connect, you can see it is randomly placing the tiles here. I will grab one more shape here. Let's keep this guy here. I will go to my tile sampler again. I will define, I want another input by sliding this. So now, if you see closely here, I have pattern input 1 and pattern input 2 now. So now I will input this pattern to my input 2. So now you can see this tile sampler is placing the tile inputs accordingly randomly. So now I wanted to arrange it in my own way. So if you come here to the pattern input distribution, I can just go to pattern number. So what this do is it places alternatively. So now I will also make another one adjustments. I will just scroll down and come to offset. I will just offset it like this so that I have something called checker pattern, and also increase the scale. Perfect. So now I have a pattern here which is ready. I will just grab one more tile generator here. I will make 4 by 4. I will just make this the square. I will scale a bit down. Now you guys can see the grooves, whatever you can see in between the tiles. Now I will directly connect this to height map and see what will happen. So you guys won't see any changes. Let me quickly change it to rounded cylinder. Okay. So now I will use a normal node. What this normal node does is you can input any black and white or a grayscale image into this one, and this creates a normal map for you. So I can directly connect this normal map into this, and now you guys can see the group details here. So let's keep this. Also the pattern which is done. So let's see how we can add some colors and all now. So let's take some fractal. These are all the generators which is all inbuilt, and it is all tileable and also adjustable using the nodes here, the parameters here. So now I have to the fractal noise. Let me take a blend node and just blend this too. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now I will just reduce the opacity a bit so that I can get those dirt details. In PBR it is very much necessary. Whenever you guys are creating any textures for CGI, so you have to understand nothing will be perfect. No surface will be smooth completely. You will have a lot of dirt or some kind of variations to it. So that's what I'm trying to do. So now I have to take a fractal noise and blend it here. I will again take a blend node here. I will try to add some color. I will take a uniform color. So this is also a simple node where you can input a color. So now for now I will just select some color like this. I will input in my background. I will input this into my foreground. You can't see any result because the color information is actually a colored image, and this one is a grayscale. So quickly I will just convert it to a colored image. So now you can see the result. I will blend it with multiply. So now you can see the tile which has some colors and some variations to it. I will directly connect this one to my base color. Perfect. So now you can see the result. So now you can see that we are done with the color, we have done with the normal, and we are done with the height map. So let's add, let's work on the roughness. Roughness is very important because when you take any surface, no surface will be perfect. Like you will have a fingerprints or you will have some sort of variations on that one. So let's try get those details here. I will just take this height node and directly connect to my roughness and see what happens. So now if I closely zoom in, you guys can see there is some sort of glossiness going on in between the grooves. You guys can see that, right? Perfect. So now what is happening, wherever you see the white color, that is completely matte. Wherever you see the black color, that is glossy. So I need it in the other way around. So I will just quickly grab the levels. I will invert the colors. I will take the levels. I will just invert it. So now you can see that the tiles are so glossy, and if you see in between the grooves are so rough because the light doesn't penetrate inside and it will be rough. So now let's add a little more variations to it. I will just take a blend node again. I will just use this height map which I have created. I will also blend this fractal noise which has some amount of variations to it. And let me put this to multiply. So now I have multiplied that. I have a new roughness map here. What I can do, I can just replace that. And now you can see my surface is completely rough. Also, since we are procedural, what we can do, we can always control that using the sliders. Getting it right? Perfect. So let's go ahead. So the only thing which is remaining is metallic. So since my tile is not a metal surface, I can just add a uniform color and I can represent it with black color so that it is non-metallic. So now my material is completely ready. So what I will do, quickly duplicate this. I will keep this aside. So you can see the shape, right? I will come to my very first node which has a 2 by 2. I will select that. I have a properties here. I have selected a paraboloid. So I will just quickly change to something else and see what happens. You can see it already giving me a different pattern. Okay, so I like this one, so let us stick on to this one. So now I want to switch between these two patterns, for example this and this. So what I will do, I will quickly create a switch, which is that this switch will decide which pattern to be outputted from that. So I will put this in the true area and I will put this in the false area, and I will connect my switch output to my tile sampler. So now my tile sampler, what it does, it has a switch here. It will switch between the patterns. So So it's all procedural and non-destructive. Anytime you can do the changes and it reflects in your viewport, you don't have to work more on this one. So yeah, so now as an artist I have worked on this material. So now what I wanted to do, I want to give this controls to a user, end user, who will be taking this material and who will be applying on to his 3D surface. So what I will do, I will try to expose some parameters. Expose means like once I expose these parameters, that parameters will be available for that particular user. So let's see what all you can expose it. So let me come to switch. I will just expose this first. It's a simple expose, like I have not done any major thing. I will just click OK. I will also come to color. I will expose this. Let me rename this one so that it will be easy for the end user to find out. I will just name it as color and give OK. It's exposed. You can see this blue color, small blue color, so that means it is exposed. So I will also come to this roughness where I can adjust the roughness of the material. I will also try expose this one. I will rename this as a roughness. Perfect. So now I have exposed 3 parameters here. I will just double click on an empty area of a graph, and I can scroll down here. So these are the 3 parameters which I have exposed. So now I will just simply click on this I button where you can preview that. So now what happens, all these attributes will be available for the user. Whoever is using my material, he can change the pattern in one click. He can change the color. He can also vary the roughness. So when you see closely, it gets a rough surface and it removes. So that's about procedural. Also, we can export this as SPSAR and you can take it to the various platforms like Unity, Unreal, and also 3ds Max, Maya, all the other platforms. So we have a plugin. Through that plugin, this will work out. So this is about the Substance Designer. Anytime you can come, you can do the changes here and it reflects onto your output. So that's about the Substance Designer. So let me show how you can texture it using the Substance Painter. Let me close this. Substance Painter is, like a name suggests, it's a painting software. If you have any 3D models, you can get into the 3D Substance Painter and you can right away paint on the surface, you can apply the materials, and you can also render and visualize how your product looks like. Okay, let me just open a blank scene here. I have something here. Okay, I have an automotive console here. Let me start texturing this one. So I have a top surface here. I will select that. I will create a new layer. As soon as I create, you can see the PBR standard outputs here, maps like color, metal, rough, normal, and height. Whatever you saw in the designer, the same thing is here. And what I can do, I can select some color here. I can make it metallic. In the designer, what we did for the metallic output, we gave black. So that's the reason why it was not a metallic. But here I am giving the metallic value of white. So that's the reason why it is becoming metallic. So now I have also adjusted the roughness a bit, so it looks like metal surface. Cool. So now I have applied this particular material to various objects. If I want to apply to some particular object, what I can do is I can quickly do the black mask. I can paint it on that surface. If you don't want, you can also press X to invert the brush and you can remove it. Or you can also select the polygon fill tool. You can select it by triangles, polygons, also by an object or a UV. So let me just go with the object and select that. So now for now what happens is it is only selected for this area. Fine. So let's go ahead and grab some materials from my library. So I will just grab it and I will put it right on this. So once I add it, it will come on the remaining rest of the surface. I'm done with the chrome. So let me add some other materials. I'll just drag, which is in my library. I'll put it on my surface. As soon as you put, you can see this. So I can do the tiling right in my viewport. So here what I can do, I can come to my material properties. I can switch to triplanar projection and I can scale it and make it look according to my requirement. So now if you see, to scale proportionally. Also, every material is exposed. It has a lot of exposed parameters. If I scroll down, I can select the colors, I can change the roughness. You guys can see the result here. I will leave it as it is for now. So I have created this carbon fiber. So now what I can do, I will just quickly group this by pressing Ctrl G. I will just name it my carbon. I can also create it a smart material. So once I create a smart material, what happens, it comes and sits in my shelf called smart materials, and you can see it here. This will be available whenever you open Substance Painter. So you can use this material onto any surface. Just imagine you have multiple roughness layers and all stacked on. You can create it as a smart material, and this will be available throughout. So now what I can do, I can just click and drag, put it on the other surface. Now it is done. Okay, so let's move on to some other object here. So let me grab some leather from the material library. Okay, so I'm just applying on top of this. So now you can see the leather is not proportionally scaled. So I can just go to 2D viewport also. I can scale it. So now you can see the result. It is much more realistic and proportioned. Okay, let's come to one single view. So now if you see, I want to replicate this material even on this surface. So what I can do, I will just to visualize, I will just make it so low and also enable this layer. So only 2 layers you can see now. I want to replicate this one on this one. So what I can do, I can just right click, instantiate across texture sets. Once I click on this, it gives me an option where you want to replicate it. For now, I will just remove everything and I will just select the other leather object, give OK, and now it is instance. What's the use of instance? You can come to the parent material anytime. You can change the color and it also reflects on the other layer. It does change on the other layer. You can do the changes for your exposed parameters, it reflects, and everything works in procedural way and non-destructive. Fine. So I have done with the leather. Let me enable everything. You can also grab some wood. Let me apply on top of this. You can see here you have a lot of seams here where you can see the V shape. So I can quickly fix it by using a triplanar projection. I can also scale it in my 3D view. I can come and change the properties. I can just make something like white color. I can decrease the roughness and make it like a piano finish, glossy finish. I can come to my technical parameters where I have normal intensity and all. I can reduce it so that it looks glossy. Yeah. Now you can see it is so glossy and it looks good. Fine. So I will also grab one plastic material here and just apply onto the bottom. I can also scale this in my 2D view. Let me just scale it here. Perfect. Yeah. Furthermore, I will do it. Good. So now I have pretty much overall texture, and apart from this, let me select this layer as well. So what I try to do is I will just try to add some detail like emissive to this one. I will just take a new layer. I will switch off everything. I will just enable color and emissive. So what does emissive is, like whenever there is a light content in that one, it emits some kind of light in that one. Now I can just select the color here and also select the emissive color. You guys can see how it is emitting. Okay. Now the texturing is done here. So I will also try to add some little more details. For example, if you see this cover on top, there is no detail. I will try to stamp some details here. So I will just select the layer. I will create a new layer here. I will come down. I will switch off everything and just retain my normal. Okay. I will come to my library in a hard surface. I will grab some hard surface here. I will scale it down according to my requirement. I will just stamp it. So now I have a detail there. You don't need to model it. So all those details can be painted across. Fine. So now try to add some stitches on this one. I will select that particular layer. I have a smart material again here, which I have created. So I will just drag and drop here. I have a smart material here. Scroll down. I have named it as paint here. I will just select that, select my brush, and I will select the brush preset, which you have a lot of presets over here. I will just select the brush presets here. I have selected brush preset. I will just make the small changes like reducing the size of the stage. I will change the color to white. Okay, I will just align my view. And I will just click here and hold shift and do. So now I have a stitches. So if you see closely, so probably you may think that the resolution is not that so good. So be a procedural. You don't need to erase it. You don't need to scale it up and all. So once you have done, you can come to your texture set. It's in 2K. You can switch back to 4K. What my substance does, it actually reads all your actions and process it for you, and it gives the 4K output just in time. So now we have a 4K output. It's just processing all the other layers. So now you can see it in more detail. So if you see, I have added the stitches here and it is not present on the other side. So what I will do, I will just switch this back to 2K for now. I will come here. I can also erase my stitch. I will switch on my mirror option here. I will go back to my brush. I will just do that again. So now you can see it is also painting on the other side. So instantly we have painted on one side and the other side is automatically driven. So yeah, pretty much my material is all done. So also what the thing is, like we have integrated iRay inside. So you can go visualize your product in iRay rendering. So once you click on that, you can adjust your camera according to your requirement and you can focus it. Also you can get your own environment maps. For now I have used some environment map. I can change it. I can also, what I can do, I can rotate the environment map so that you can get a good lighting condition on your surface, something like that. We'll just change it. Also we have a lot of post effects here. I can enable it. I have innately, I can control it. I can make it more. I also have glare where I can control it here. So if we give a couple of minutes, for now it's rendering. Like if you save the image, I will just save it on my desktop. Perfect, I have saved it. Let us check the image here. Yep. So it's rendered and it's ready. Fine. So that's about iRay. So let me come, I will just switch off the iRay, I'll switch off the post effects and all. Let's come out here. So pretty much my object is completely textured. Remember, I just stamped something here, right? So now your art director or someone will come and tell you like, hey, this is not looking good, I need to make some changes. So probably you might be thinking that you need to create a new layer, you need to stamp it again. No, in Substance Painter, like I said, every actions will be recorded. So you can go to the resource updater. So every actions, what you do, everything will be recorded. For example, I have used 2 carbon fiber, it is all here. Every action, I will just scroll down a bit. You can see that I have stamped a normal map here. I can come to my resource. I will just type hard surface. Okay, I'll just scroll down. I will just select some other thing. Okay, let me move this out a bit so that you guys can see. I just click on update and it updates instantly. So you don't need to delete a layer, create a layer and do workaround for that one. So pretty much I'm done with this texturing. So this is how it is looking. So that's about the Substance Painter. So we are still procedural, non-destructive, and anytime you can make any changes and it will reflect. Also, if you see the leather, you can also replace it by resource updater. You can go and change the material there. So that's about the Substance Painter. So I'm done with that. Like if you guys have any technical questions, I would be happy to help you guys. So if you guys have any questions, we will be in the booth. You guys can come and get in touch with me so that I can, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Does it retain the history even after you close the room?
Absolutely. Everything will be retained. Everything will be in Substance Painter file. Once you open it again, every action will be still there.
Those files are heavy.
Absolutely. The Substance Painter files will be heavy because it is recording each and every actions and every information will be there. So that's the reason that it will be heavy. But for an artist, nowadays like we have a lot of large space available, it should not be a problem. If in case if you're worried about using our maps in other engines, you can export it to 2K, 5K, 512 anytime.
And does these shaders, does Unity and other engines read these shaders?
So from Substance Painter, you can export it as PBR standard. From Substance Painter, you can export it to Unity standard and also Unreal standard, Corona standard, VRIA standard. All the standards are available in Substance Painter. You can anytime export it directly from Substance Painter.
Is there a real-time connectivity?
Absolutely. Yes.
You can update in Substance Painter and line something?
Yes, we do have a live link on Unity. Probably what we can do, if you guys want to see that live link, you guys can just come to the stall behind. I can just quickly show you how the live link works. Probably many of them are already seen here. I can see a couple of them here and outside. If you want to see, you can just come and I will be happy to show you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.